Here with John Fanta at Big East Media Day. We just wrapped up the men's portion of the day. Tell me, what are your three biggest takeaways from what we saw today?
Number one, Rick Pitino has set Madison Square Garden on fire. Him taking over St. John's changes the whole dynamic of the Red Storm. They are back on the map. They've got a talented roster. I really like Danish Jenkins. I think Joel Soriano's got competition in practice, and I love the addition of Chris Ledlam. So St. John's is my top takeaway. Number two, don't sleep on Villanova. They were not picked in the top three of the Big East. I believe that they'll be there by the end of the season. Justin Moore is one of the best players in the country. Kyle Neptune enters his second year. I think settled down. I think comfortable in the role. It's tough to replace Jay Wright, but I like the way that Villanova looks, and I think that they're going to be an interesting team. And then number three, the fire is not lost when you think about all the things that happen in the offseason. Let's face it, we're counting down the days until January 27th, when Ed Cooley returns to Providence. That's very much alive. Cooley taking over Georgetown just gave Georgetown a different energy that we haven't seen at Big East Media Day in several years. And as for Providence, Kim English feels like he's got a team that's being slept on. They were picked 7th in the Big East. If they're 7th in the Big East standings by the end of the year, I would be very surprised. I think they'll be an NCAA tournament team, so don't count out those Friars.
I know you picked Marquette to be preseason first. You were already making that plan. Were you surprised to see UConn all the way down at 3?
I was surprised. I thought the coaches would put them second. I did not think the coaches would put them first, because if you put them first, you're disregarding the losses of Adama Sanogo, Andre Jackson, and Jordan Hawkins. All three who have NBA opportunities right now. Hawkins and Jackson, who were both drafted to the NBA. So for me, I was not surprised that they weren't, I was not surprised that they weren't first, but I was surprised that UConn was picked third. I thought, coming off a national championship, yes, there's a bit of disrespect to have the Huskies in the number 3 slot in the conference. That is a chip on their shoulder. They will take that with them back to Stores. And if Donovan Clingan's healthy, look out. I really like the upside of this Connecticut team.
The day is not over. We're getting ready for the women's. Who are you most excited to see today, and what is your biggest prediction for the women's Big East season?
Well, I think that what excites me the most about Big East women's basketball is the year that the league had last season. They had 5 teams make the NCAA tournament. We saw generational talent come through Villanova in Maddie Siegrist, who just set the Wildcats on fire. And for Connecticut, what excites me the most is Paige Beckers is back. The Paige factor is here. And America gets to watch Paige, and I knock on wood because we need to see her healthy. It's great for the sport of women's basketball. It's great for the sport of basketball in general. So I'm excited to see Paige back on the floor after 2 tough years with setbacks. Beyond UConn, Azzi Fudd, Aaliyah Edwards as well, I'm looking forward to seeing them play. Creighton, they've got a 3-headed monster. Morgan Molly, Lauren Jensen, Emma Ronsick. The Blue Jays know how to play. They're connected. Jim Flannery runs one of the best offensive systems in the country. Marquette, Jordan King excites me. Dynamic guard, a leader. And Megan Duffy just figures out ways to keep her teams competitive year in and year out. They fight you tooth and nail. And I'll tell you what, I think there's a player at Seton Hall named Azana Baines who's going to surprise some people this year. Had a big summer. Don't count out Tony Bazzella's team and Joe Tartamella's St. John's team. I'm really intrigued by them. They're coming off an NCAA tournament berth, an NCAA tournament win. The Red Storm have some pieces to get figured out, but Tartamella's a really strong coach.
So many talented teams in this women's side. It's just unbelievable. Who is your dark horse team? Who do you feel like people are sleeping on that they shouldn't?
Well, I'm going to go outside the box here and say Providence. Aaron Bath takes over as the Friars head coach. And Providence has been a program that's really they've been part of the doormat in the conference. They've been near the basement of this league. I think Bath just injects a whole different energy. They lost a couple of key pieces. Janae Crooms is a big loss, but I like the makeup of their team. I think that they're going to be able to run the floor more. And sometimes with a first-year head coach, she can catch the rest of the conference by surprise because they haven't seen her yet. So I'm bullish on Providence this year to surprise some people. My other one, I'll pick 2 for you. I think Austin Parkinson and Butler are a really intriguing team in this league. I like Sydney James. I like the way that she plays the game. They brought in a couple of transfers that should help them. I think that this team, Rachel Kent is another one. I think this team is going to be able to exceed expectations if they defend. Their game plan is defense. If they defend, you're not going to want to play Butler in March.
They're going to be dangerous. I like those picks. Last question. Women in sports, it's just having the absolute light right now. How exciting is it to see it, and especially with the talent that's coming through the Big East?
Well, I'm really glad that you asked that question because I'm a male, and I call a lot of women's basketball games. I got my start in women's basketball. I love women's basketball. Love it. And the way that the sport has grown is tremendous, and we can keep growing. This is just the start. And I feel it's a privilege to be able to call women's basketball on Flo Sports. I love what we do from the Big East side of things, and on FloHoops, the coverage is second to none. And I think that as we continue to build, the thing with women's basketball is the quality of play has only improved. It just continually gets better, what these women can do. But the way that these women inspire young girls is what I hope someday, if my wife and I are fortunate to have a daughter, I know I want them to learn from the young women that are here today. And I think that that's what women's sports is all about. But for those who are not watching, I would tell you, where have you been? Because everybody that's on this wagon is enjoying the heck out of it, and I think we're just going to keep on rolling.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.